Welcome. My name is George Pearson and I run the How To Gurus channel here on YouTube. Most of the videos in my channel are short demonstrations of the different tools and techniques you'll find in various software programs. Right now I have several hundred of these quick videos available on YouTube. This video though is different. This is part of a new series of longer demonstrations that I'm doing to show you how to complete complex projects from start to finish using a variety of techniques and tools. All of the images I use in these projects are in the public domain, and I've included a link to the pictures in the video description in case you want to work along using the same images. Okay, let's move on to the project. In this Photoshop project, we're going to take a standard picture and give it an old-fashioned look. And there are a few different techniques I use on this one, and there are ways of making it better and giving yourself more control. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. You can see up here a couple things. We have changed the color, of course, made it monochromatic and given it a color. We have added in a bit of a darkening around the edges in there. And I've gone in and put a little bit of noise in here, as a little bit of picture noise as well. Okay, let's just get rid of that and let's see how that is handled. Now the best way to handle a project like this is to do things in a way that you have some flexibility. So you can go back and you can change them in the future if you want to. So let's just see how that's done. I'm just going to dock this at the top here so you can get a little larger view on that. And see if we can fill the screen. There we go. The first thing we want to do is to change the color on this. Now, the easy way would be just go up here to Layer, Adjustments, Hue Saturation, Colorize, and then find the hue and saturation level that you want to work with. The problem with this technique is that once that's done, we can't change it. So what we want to do is we want to use the Hue Saturation tool, but we want to use that tool on an adjustment layer. So Layer, New Adjustment Layer right here, and Hue Saturation. Let's go ahead and do that. So there's the same tool, but it's going in here on a separate layer. This way the original image doesn't get touched. We can do all of our changes up here, and then we can go back and make adjustments later on. Let me just demonstrate that. First off, let's just back up again. There we go. Let's colorize this. Here's a colorization. Let's find a nice old-fashioned hue. I'll darken it down a little bit. A little more saturation. Just kind of, getting the general look and feel. There we go. So there's the basic look. I can always go back to the original and compare that. And then if I wanted to change this, let's say I wanted to have this in blue tones instead of in these sepia tones, just double click over here and that brings that back up again. I can then adjust my settings. Let's just move this over here into the blues, for instance. So I could come in here and do a bluish look instead of the sepia tone look. So by putting this on an adjustment layer, it gives you flexibility to be able to go back and make adjustments later. That's the important part here. Let me just find the color I want again, somewhere in there. I want a little on the dark side, a little more saturation. Okay, so that's the basic colorization. Now we want to put in the darkening around the edges, in and around there. I'll also put in a new layer up here just to have something to work with. To do that, we're going to use a special filter up here, and that's the lens correction filter. Now this filter is normally used, see there's our clear layer right there. Let me just talk you through this before we do the actual controls. This tool is normally used to make adjustments for aberrations and distortions caused by different cameras and by different lenses. All lenses will do some level of distortion. And with this tool, you can come in here and you can find your camera, and you can find the model and the lens model, and then this will automatically clean up any of those distortions that that particular camera model and lens model have, and improve your picture based on that. That's what it's designed to do. But there's this custom setting over here which has all kinds of interesting tools in it. We have distortion tools, chromatic aberration tools in here, and then vignetting right down there, and darkening and midpoints. We'll be using that tool right there to give us that darkening effect. Now, this has to be on an actual image, so I'm going to make a copy of this background. I'll just drag this down to my new layer button there. Now, again, normally I like to not do anything which is going to change my original, so that I can always go back to that. That's why I use this adjustable layer here. On the vignetting, I can't do that, so I'm making a copy of my layer. Then I can always go back to the original if I need to. It's contained here inside of the file. Okay, here's our image. Go up to Filter, Lens Correction, and Custom. Notice that we're not seeing the coloration in there because that's above. That's on that adjustment layer, so we're seeing the original. But that's fine for this. What we want to do is we want to have vignette and darkening. You see what happens. So I pull it in, it actually darkens the corners down. Now, the amount of darkening is up to you. This gives the effect of there being a lens shade on the camera, and you're getting a little bit of the lens shade out of focus on the edges. That's what it's used for. So if you have a lens shade on your camera, you're getting that kind of darkening effect, you can use this to go the opposite direction. You can see it right there. And you can lighten up those edges to try to even out that effect and remove the darkening. But in this case, we're using it in a different manner, and I'm putting in the darkening on purpose. So I'm using it and putting in distortions because that's the effect that I want. Okay, choose OK. There's that darkening around the edge. So we're looking pretty good at this point. The next thing is to put in some noise in here. And go up here to the filter again, come down to noise, and add noise. There it is. Gives this real nice add noise effect. Notice again, I'm on my copy layer here. I can't do this on a separate layer. This has to be on the copy layer because it has to be done on the actual image. But this allows me to come in here and put all kinds of noise in. You can kind of see the noise in there. And that helps me to give this an old-fashioned look. See, there it is clean. And if I zoom out just a little bit, so there's clean. And then bring just a little bit of noise in. Looks like it's a grainier shot, which gives it more of that old-fashioned look. And then see, it has some options in here. You do a uniform grain or a Gaussian grain. I prefer the Gaussian for the old-fashioned look. You can go monochromatic if you want to. Monochromatic actually works out pretty well for this monochromatic image, so I'll go ahead and I'll use that monochromatic. Now if you uncheck preview, that leaves your original over here and your preview here. To see the original, just put the cursor over here, click and hold. You see the original, let go of the mouse button, and there is the adjustment. There's without and there's with, so you can go back and forth. You can also pull your image around in here if you want to see how it looks in different parts of the image. So click and hold, that's the original, let go, and that's with the noise applied. And that's about right. That's about the right amount of noise I want to have on this one. Choose OK, and there's that noise effect. So there you go. There's a nice old-fashioned looking image. And even though I can't go back and adjust the grain, and I can't go back and adjust the vignetting, that's kind of stuck on that layer. If I have to, I can always go back to my original and then make another copy of that and adjust that. So by having the backup safety copy here, that gives me that bit of flexibility. On the color, we can still double click on this icon and I can change my hue saturation. So that's still available to me completely. So there we go. That is doing an old-fashioned look photograph. The last thing here, we don't need to have that layer. I'll just trash that layer out of there. There it is. Okay, let's just do a variation on this now. I'm going to do a variation and give this the duotone or blue color, just again to see how that's done. And if you already have this set up, it's easy to do. Just grab this adjustment layer and make a copy of the adjustment layer. You can copy those as well. Now it's a doubling up right now, so let's just close or hide one of those. So on this one, I'll double click in here, and I'm going to actually float this, I think, just like that, and let's hide that so you can see more of that image. There we go. Let's now bring this over into our blues. Kind of a cyan, a little more blue than a cyan. Right in there's where it looks pretty good. And I'll just redock that again. There we are. So there's the blue tone look, kind of blue duotone look. And there's the sepia tone, kind of so you can do either one that you want fairly easily. Just keep in mind you have to have just one shown at a time. All right, there you go. That's the variation on that. And again, pretty straightforward. The couple of tricks to make this look really nice, the old-fashioned look, is of course the vignetting outside. That really helps because older cameras tended to have a lot more vignetting than newer cameras. And then putting in that film grain in there by using the noise filter really helps out a lot on giving it that old-fashioned camera look. Thank you for watching this special Photoshop photography project video. Don't forget to subscribe so that you will get first notice of new project videos in the future. Just click on this link right here where it says subscribe here. You can get all 12 project videos in this series along with 26 special videos demonstrating the tools and techniques that I used in these projects by clicking on this link right down here. And then thank you again for watching this training video.